Good morning, 7th and 8th graders. I'm sorry I can't be with you today. I'm at a curriculum meeting, but I will be back tomorrow. So today what we're going to do is officially get started on Activity 2.5. So even if you are still kind of working out the kinks, figuring out errors on your Activity 2.4 extension that we were working on with the clinic name, clinic address, and clinic phone number, forget about that for now. Today, let's just focus on getting going on Activity 2.5. And when I get back tomorrow, we will worry about the extension from 2.4. Okay, so you will have on Google Classroom this slideshow that I'm going to be talking through while I'm making this video. So feel free to refer to that anytime. So this is the plan for Activity 2.5. We are creating a fitness app, and they've already given us kind of the design requirements for it. So their timeline is 6 days. So our goal is to complete this in 6 days. If it takes us a little longer, which it generally does, then we may need to extend it a little bit. But in general, this is what we're going to try to do. So today is day 1, which is Thursday. Then Friday we'll be down here on day 2, and next week we'll be at 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so the goal is to finish this by the end of next week. We'll see how we do. All right, so throughout this, we're going to be referring to the design process, and we talked about the design process earlier in the semester, but I just wanted to put this slide in here to remind you as a refresher what the design process is. Okay, so 6 steps: define the problem, generate concepts, design a solution, build and test, evaluate the solution, and then present the solution. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working through. Essentially, what I'm doing today, since I'm not there with you, is I am doing this discussion part with you via this video. Okay, so where we would discuss, I just want you to kind of listen to me and think about things as we go. All right, so back to today. These are our goals, the things that we want to accomplish today. Read and discuss introductory information, complete design steps 1, 2, and 3. Okay. All right, so first part where we're going to read and discuss introductory information, I'd like for you to open mypltw.org if you haven't already, and I'm going to have you read the Staying Healthy section. Okay, so over here you will see it's very short. I know you have to read, but you'll see a section that's talking about physical activity and why we might need to create a fitness app. So pause me and read through this section, Staying Healthy. Okay, so once you've read through that, I want you to ask yourself and think about some things. These are things that we would have discussed as a class, but you can think about them, and that's fine. That's going to work for us today. So ask yourself about fitness apps in general. Do you use one? Do you know friends or family that uses a fitness app or wears a fitness tracker? Think about how does using that app affect their lifestyle choices or yours if you're the one who uses it. What specifically do you think motivates people to use fitness apps? Okay, so this is where I kind of want you to make that real world connection to people you know, and maybe even yourself, and kind of relate it to what we're going to be designing here. So be thinking through that. I know personally, now that I wear an Apple Watch and I have different activity rings, I really pay attention to my goals every day and try to reach them. So I'm much more consistent with what I'm trying to do healthy choice-wise because I have this thing on my wrist telling me to stand up or breathe or move. So think about those things and how that affects people's choices. Then on the next slide, we're going to kind of talk about the other side of that. You know, I've told you I like The Big Bang Theory, and we've watched a couple of their clips. Take a minute and watch this clip, and while you're doing that, kind of think about these things right here. Go ahead and pause me, watch the clip, and then come back. Okay, so I thought that was really funny. That was kind of the first thing I thought of whenever I started reading about the app that we were going to create. So a lot of people just want to avoid exercise and healthy choices in general. So just think about what makes people avoid using these types of things. And then as a programmer, what can you do to make using fitness trackers or apps more appealing to people? Okay, so something you might think about is positive quotes or encouragement that apps can give people to keep going and reach their goals, however they set their goals. So that was supposed to be just a little bit of fun. Hope you liked it. Okay, next part, we got to define the problem. Okay, so two things you're going to do here. You're going to read the design brief that they gave us. And then I would like for you to look at the rubric that they gave us as well, because that's going to give you a good understanding of how you're going to get your grade here. This is going to be kind of a half and half thing, where what you write in your notebook is going to be about worth half as your actual programming that you do, that you create. So you must document what you're doing in your notebook, your PLTW notebook, as well as actually be able to create the app. Okay, so it's about 50-50. So first thing you want to do is take the time to read the design brief for the project. So I pasted it here on this slide and on the next slide. So you can read it here if you want to, or just switch back over to mypltw.org. And here it is, a little bit bigger. Okay, so pause me and read this design brief so you have a good understanding of what you're going to be creating and what the requirements are. Okay, once you read through that, I'm hoping some things kind of sounded familiar to you. Okay, so let's just real quickly look down at the criteria and requirements here. And I'm hoping that some of these things seemed a little bit familiar to you, and think about specifically our disease tracker programming that we have done. Some of these lists and components should ring a bell for you, like average, okay, how we figured out some of these things, the sum. Okay, so we have done some of this programming in different things. Also in the Charades app, I think there's some things that you can connect to what you were reading here. So hopefully as you're reading that, you're making those connections to previous programming that we've done. Okay, keep those in mind as we go throughout creating and designing what we want our app to look like. And actually, once we do get in there and start coding, PLTW does allow you to use the base of that disease tracker, that activity 2.4. They allow you to use that code and just kind of reformulate it for your project, which is fine with me, but you do have to be really careful about taking out things that you don't need for this new app. So I don't know. I think when I do it, I'm probably going to start from scratch, but it's okay with me if you do it the way that they have said you could. All right, so then the rubric, okay, you want to take a minute and again, read through here and see how I'm going to be looking at your work. Again, it is on my PLTW under number 2. You can just click here and it'll take you to a bigger version of it, but I've also pasted it down here. Okay, so you do have to document in your notebook as you're going through. Then your app functionality here, programming best practices, and then readability and documentation, reducing redundancy. And then this last little section of the rubric is all about collaboration. And we are not pair programming on this, okay? Every person in the room is going to create their own fitness app. Now, I don't expect you to do that in a vacuum. I expect you to talk to other students and see what their ideas are and collaborate in that manner and give them feedback on their ideas. But everybody will be coming up with their own idea and design and creating it, okay? So if if the rubric refers to pair programming, just remember we aren't doing that. You're going to be talking to other people about how to create your app and what to do, but everybody's coding in here. All right, so we're ready for step 2, generate concepts, and PLTW has done this part for us. So this is the part we've talked about before that really does take a lot of time. This is getting with the client, coming up with ideas, narrowing things down, getting it to look and behave the way they want it to. So that really is a time-consuming step that they've taken care of for us. Okay, moving ahead, this is going to be designing the view layer. This is the part that the person using the app sees, okay? So this is where you're really going to dig in and start working in your PLTW notebook, okay? So make sure you have your notebook. Go ahead and write Activity 2.5 at the top of each page that you use from now on, okay? And as we're looking, here's where I am on my pltw.org. View layer number 3. Okay, and we're going to go through all of these. There is a part where you're going to sketch out your design solutions and ideas. You're going to list out what UI components you need to include in your app. And then you're going to answer A through H in your notebook. Okay, please, on every page that you use, put Activity 2.5 at the top. That really helps me when I go to grade. Okay. 16. All right, so I'm going to, hopefully, my goal tonight is to sketch some of this stuff out for you so I can give you some examples of what your notebook should look like, okay? And as I do that, I will add it to the slideshow, so you may want to pop over to Google Classroom and look at the slideshow, this end part, as you will be able to see some examples of what I write in my notebook. Okay, so the first one for 3 is to collaborate with your partner. I just marked that out to remind you you're doing this on your own, okay? You're going to brainstorm and sketch a design solution and ideas for the app, and then review the design requirements and criteria in the design brief, which is earlier on in the slideshow or on mypltw.org, and list out what UI components you're going to need to include in your app. So do that as a true list of what you're going to need. Okay, put in buttons, spinner if you need it, text boxes, kind of jot in, really think about the details that you're going to need. Okay, so you're probably going to want to pause here. I will try to do an example for you for that so that you can look at it on the slideshow. Okay, then when you come back, you're just going to go to each section and you will start with A and answer, or do the activity under each letter, A through H. And again, I will try to tonight get through here and give you some examples so you can see what I'm looking for specifically in your notebook. Okay. All right, that is it for today. Tomorrow, when I get back, our goal is for you to have already finished what I just went over in your notebook so that we can jump into day 2, which is where we're going to go in and actually figure out the control layer. This is going to take some time. I'm thinking it's probably going to take us 2 days instead of 1 day, but we'll kind of see how it goes. So I hope you have a great Thursday. I will see you tomorrow.